This literally is the fairy tale run for Fury.
Yeah, it certainly is. And, you know, while they probably wouldn't care too much about talking about the record that they had in stage 1, it does get brought up for good reason. But, you know, we'll start with TYDE because obviously we go from left to right. That's the way the run of show does generally go. And look, I think there's going to be a lot spoken about Fury. But, you know, for TYDE coming into this event, there's only been one other team, ironically, that has gone to stage winless, that being Fury. So, you know, they've got one last chance to let Fury not only keep that mantle of being the only winless team, but also deny them from going to the major. So I do wonder potentially how sadistic these guys are, and it's a cheeky smile from Mentalist. And it's like, hey guys, do we want to not send them to the major? So look, there's a bit to fight for there in terms of pride, right? No one wants to end a stage winless, and when you look at this team, the roster itself, the names on this roster, you just honestly sit back and wonder, what the hell has gone wrong? Because there's some really good players here. It just obviously hasn't quite clicked. That's the only thing I can really say. And maybe with time, it might work out. Who knows? But it's so hard to see them winning this game because of how much it means now for Fury. But if they're to do it, I mean, it is certainly possible.
I mean, I've gone for them, Guz, but I'm not a true believer. I'll be completely honest with you. Jeez Louise, what did you just open?
You just got nuked.
Yeah, I've lost my train of thought. I mean, like, yeah, I've picked them, but honestly, I have a couple of reservations. One being, you know, Xenox has already mentioned it, the fact that it just hasn't clicked yet. But all their performances have been pretty close.
Yeah, they've actually not been smashed out of the water on a lot of occasions. It's often been a case of just tidying up a couple of rounds, and they probably would have gotten a couple of results. But that's just, you know, the way the cookie crumbles, and you get punished for mistakes here in APAC South. Best of 1, only 6 games, so you really can't afford too many errors. And unfortunately, with the limited time and run into the stage that this team had, it was basically inevitable that they would find it tricky. It would have been an absolute miracle if they were mounting significant results, and at the end of the day, probably got what we expected. But this is their opportunity to have a last hurrah and cement their name in the history books in perhaps a different way outside of the standings where they already locked in for that last position. It would be quite an end to the year for both teams vying for their major spot to lose out, especially TYDE, who have found it really tricky.
Look, the villain of the day is always still in the book, that is for sure. You know, you're always reading about it, so there's every chance that they could still pull through here. You know, Mentalist was having a bit of a laugh, but I'm sure a group that are not laughing and are taking this in a very, very serious manner. Fury, this is as big as it gets for this team. They're laughing. God damn it! You're meant to be there with all just frowns and waiting for the game. But I'm sure a group of people outside of Fury's management are probably sitting there and they're holding on to something. I'll tell you that much.
You know that GIF, Rob, where it's the guy with the sweat that's in like 8K resolution? That's the Fury management right now.
Yeah.
That's quick draw.
That's quick draw.
So shout out Quick Draw, of course, and the Fury organization, you know, for obviously sticking with this team and sticking with this roster. You know, sometimes it's easy to just sort of throw the towel in, but they doubled down and obviously made a couple of changes, and boy, it's worked out. And, you know, when we think back to sort of how this team originally looked back in stage one with Spacehead and Producer Boom, and then you replace those two, and at a time when many would have considered them to be the 2 best players, you then go and get BG Man and I9, and you think, have they downgraded? And obviously the answer to that has been a firm no, because stage 2 was a really good improvement, obviously on what was obviously an awful stage 1, where they didn't win a single game. Stage 2, they got 9 points, +1 round differential, 3 wins. And now, obviously, in stage 3, they've got a potential chance where if they win this game today, it'll be a 4-win, 2-loss, you know, 12 to 13 point kind of stage, and that gets them top 2. That gets them a spot at the major. So it's that beautiful, almost linear growth that they've had since stage 1, stage 2, now stage 3, and it would be a good way to cap off the year.
It certainly would be. Look, they're not the team that they used to be, but we saw glimpses of the player I9 used to be last week. He absolutely popped off against Wildcard, which was just insane to see. But we do head to the map veto, probably the most important part of this discussion. And Guz, we'll lend to you first. We go to SKYSCRAPER. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this isn't confident for either team.
Well, look, firstly for TYDE, limited information. We don't have any results for them at all on this map with this roster. So take a guess at how they're going to do here. Anyone's guess could be right. As for Fury, 2-8 record. Yeah, you heard that right. 2 wins, 8 losses throughout the year.
the worst map.
So this is going to be scrappy. This is going to be such a messy game. And I know we joked around a little bit heading into this one once we saw the video ourselves. This is the kind of map and the kind of match where TYDE are a sort of team that could go into this. And if they play absolutely loosey-goosey, only have half an inkling what they're doing themselves, it's going to be tricky for Fury to read into that, stay composed, and play a strong, consistent brand of Siege themselves. So this is quite the map to send off both of these two teams here. And of course, Fury, we have to back them in, we have to favor them in this matchup, but I'm not expecting it to be a walk in the park.
Xenox, the fact that we've seen Theme Park and Skyscraper left into the final 3, I mean, I'm not a stats man by any means, but that kind of scares me a little bit for Fury.
Yeah.
I feel like they've lost this.
Yeah, they've made a boo-boo. Rob, they've made a boo-boo. I don't know how this has happened. It is statistically their worst map. When, you know, there's other maps that they could go to, such as Villa, that they banned out. You know, I was kind of just looking at what had Fury actually banned out here. Because obviously, TYDE have actually banned away Fury's best maps. They got rid of Cafe. Oregon got banned out as well. So both of those from TYDE, understandable. So I'm like, okay, where's Fury gone wrong? And I think it might be the Villa ban. I wonder if it had have got down to Villa, Oregon as the last 2, and TYDE had to pick between those 2. I think Fury would have been in a better position. But to end it on Skyscraper, as guys sort of said, 2-8 record, minus 13 round differential. It is by far the way their worst. That's a 20% win rate, and I don't know why, but they don't ban it either. That is the only thing I will add to it, Rob. It is actually tied with Villa, the map that they just don't ban, but they play it and they lose it. I don't know. APAC things.
APAC things is so true. Well, I would love to hype into this and say so much on the line for both teams. TYDE, they're going into this winless. Could they pull out a win here? But of course, the serious note is Fury. They win this, they will be going to the major, the fairy tale end to what has been an incredible 2022 for them. We're going to throw it over to your incredible casters in MEV.
Never, ever say that again, Manic. There is so much on the line for Fury and absolutely nothing on the line for TYDE. So, Mandy, I'm going to ask you, do you believe in the dream for Fury?
Look, you never know. Maybe TYDE, there's secret agents for Gaming Gladiators. Fury, though, I think they can lock this one in. They've looked good in Stage 3, better than they ever have before, and all they need to do is take down a winless TYDE. But it is APAC South. You never know what could happen.
I thought you were going to call TYDE secret agents because their results over the stage would have been 007, but they might be able to prevent it from being so. Fortunately for them, we only have 7 teams in the league, so it would be 006 more like. But I still had to get that one in there. We're on Skyscraper, a map where we do not see these teams play very often, and as the guys on the desk said, a bit of a curious one for Fury, one that they have not had very good performances on, and yet they chose to let it through. In fact, the last 2 official games that Fury have played have both been on Skyscraper. It was a 7-8 loss to Champion in the Operation League and a 7-1 loss to Elevate in the ROG Masters. So, honestly, Mandy, I think TYDE actually might just have a shot.
This one could be tough for Fury, especially when they get on their attack off. I'm thinking about the way that TYDE play, right? And the way that TYDE play is very early game focused, especially when they get to their defense half where they're contesting those entries early. Skyscraper is one of those maps that, one, it's really hard to entry because there are not that many entry points, and it is also very hard to play cutoffs because there are not that many external windows and cutoff points of easy access. And so if TYDE actually control themselves in this early game, once they get to that defense half, I can imagine that it's going to be pretty tricky for Fury to crack into.
But that is the scary thing for TYDE. They are starting on the attack. And so they're going to have to do that. Ooh, but I like this. Speaking of starting on their attack, they've banned out the mute. So powerful. There's so many good choke points on this map where you want to get your drones in through removing that mute. Not only it enables more Mozzie play, which TYDE love. They play a lot of Mozzie, but it means it's a lot easier for them to get their drones into the map. And I think that that could help them a little bit on what otherwise could be a very challenging attack without Thatcher.
I would agree with you. This is a pretty interesting ban phase. So Thatcher's gone out, but Kaid is still left in. And on some of these walls, they can be quite challenging to clear those electricals. I don't know if Fury are going to lean into this or not. They have leaned into the mirror as well, which has come into fashion here inside of Skyscraper as well. As these defending strategies build and mature on the map, we haven't seen a whole lot of Skyscraper, but every time we do see it, there's always a lot of innovation, especially surrounding mirror and the way that the site's constructed.
Well, a lot at stake for these teams, as we can see. Will the last team to the major be Fury, or will it be GG? GG didn't get a single point out of their Elevate game, so now they have to watch this in anticipation and no doubt will be terrified, hoping that Fury do not win this game. It's very simple. If TYDE win this game, Gladiators, despite losing Elevate, will go to the major. If Fury win this game, they will go to the major. The first time Fury have ever gone to a major, the only time we've seen any of these players make it overseas to an event before was I9 back when he was going by the name of Napew on Elevate at the Six Invitational at the start of this year. What a comeback story it would be for him to be dropped from the most successful roster in APAC South only to climb back to a major when Elevate themselves were unable to get there here in Stage 3.
Already was starting out on this Karaoke and T bomb site, typically the primary bomb site for any team defending this map. But what interests me is that TYDE have actually brought not a single piece of hard breach dev. There's no Thatcher, there's no Hibana to deal with the mirrors. They've only got a plethora of utility in their hands, a bunch of smokes, a bunch of flashes, that type of thing to try and deal with the defense that Fury are bringing.
Wow, very brave C4 attempt out the window, onto the windowsill at least, but not a single bit of damage done. I wonder now, what is the game plan for Fury? Is it a more passive defense, or is this very active, very aggressive? So far, it looks like a fairly meager extension. Just 2 roamers, not many hard-held positions set up as of yet.
The lineup that TYDE have got, it doesn't seem very feasible for them to do a sweep across the map. There's nothing they could achieve even if they got to that choke point. And so we can see here they're going for this ground floor control. They're going to try to convert the control they have from the ground floor up the stairs and through the choke points, because really that's the only way that they can get into the bomb site, using those hallways and using those stairwells and trying to gain that control rather than opening up the walls.
It's a good first pick, though, for Lycolis. The mirror takes a lot of damage in the meanwhile, but he does fell Tex, who is in a way quite a big threat, playing that Twitch, popping those mirrors. He's actually also able to barricade up that geisha window. But mostly, if I'm Fury, I'm a little bit worried about this vertical game and these nades, which have come through thick and fast, open up a nice line of sight there for Nate repelling on that site window.
I'm finding it hard to see a world where TYDE are able to convert this round into a win. We can already see Fury players starting to read into the fact that TYDE really only have to funnel through these stairwells and through these windows, and they're starting to bring their plays back across to this west side of the map to try and deal with it.
And as the logic bomb detonates, so too does the Rotero, and Shibe finds the opening for his team. A double, in fact, now for the Dokkaebi. He's done the Lord's work here on the main stairs, and he goes for a flash, brings out that SMG-12 hungry for more, but it's Nate who finds it. It's a bloodbath in the server. It turns out TYDE do not need hard breach. All they need is to flood the site. BG Man now in the 1v2, down from the 1v4. This would be a Herculean effort. Can't quite land enough shots as Mentalist manages to cross in the site and start putting that diffuser down on the ground. It's up to Nate to cover, but BG Man, he has that C4. He's done a good job with these pre-fires so far. This is very winnable, Mandy. He sees the player, he sprays, doesn't quite land enough shots. And he's questioning himself, how does he play this one? He does have that C4 still in pocket, but hasn't been able to use it as of yet. And once again, spots the Yanas. Just damage back and forth. A messy close, but TYDE lock in the round.
I completely jinxed Fury when I was going through that mid-round. I thought, oh, Fury have got this, you know, there's only so many ways that TYDE can get him, but it was really Shibe that was the playmaker coming up those kitchen stairs to open up the bomb site. As soon as he was able to get that double kill through the hallway, connecting from Geisha to Drum, it completely opened up that side of the map, and the onslaught of TYDE was able to come through from that top floor entry and eventually overwhelm the site. Fury, they just weren't really completely on the ball with the push that TYDE were going for, even though it was a funnel, and get punished for it.
Gotta say, it's impressive for TYDE. They go to a map they have never played before in APAC South or any other league. Well, it's the only league that they play. And they don't bring a hard breach. and they lose the opening pick, and yet they overcome and they win that round with 2 players still alive. That is impressive. It goes to show perhaps we had written off TYDE a little bit early. This is 7th place. That's last place in the league up against Fury, a serious major contender. They win this game, they will go to that major. If TYDE can take down one of the best teams in the league after going pointless for 5 Playdays in a row, man, that would be quite a closing statement on TYDE season.
Fury looking to defend this exhibition and office bomb site, immediately setting up for this lateral control on the other side of the map, putting that Goyo canister on the door even to try and stall out the roam clear of TYDE. But what are TYDE going to go for? We saw in that last round that, in fact, they don't really like going for roam clears. They know how to do a direct attack onto the bomb site, but do Fury have the right read onto the push that they're going to do?
There you go. We do have some hard breach this time. It's in the form of the secondary from Buck, the tin can openers, as you like to call it. Here comes a good nade, though. With my band out, you only really have to worry about Jaeger, and Jaeger's not been picked. No free pick, and unfortunately, there's also no shield destroyed just outside that radius. I wonder if that was due to the nade nerfs this season. I wonder if an old nade would have managed to get that one.
Got a pretty multi-directional push coming from the side of TYDE. We've got 3 players convened over on the west side, working that roam clear from the ground floor going up, as well as a diffuser as well. I think that's just being rotated over. That's Tex starting to make his way across to the breach. 2 players of TYDE as well, directly hitting the site, trying to look to see what Fury players are going to go for. Are they going to reconvene back onto the site, or do they still have the read that TYDE are in fact roam clearing? It seems like they do. We've got the Alibi still sitting in drum, holding onto that control.
The lack of hard breach makes this pretty awkward, doesn't it? Being unable to destroy that wall where the Alibi is currently sitting, the wall from Geisha to Drum, makes it so much more difficult for the attack to get in. Wow. Feeling the fire there, Dark, as he retreats back around his own Vulcan canister, and as does the Alibi retreat back to site as well. So a peel back, fairly passive and comfortable take for Fury, as they also find the lead-off kill. Bit of a duel, and it looks like BG Man's able to double down.
Well, that's exactly what Fury need to do here, right? They can't open up the site because there is no hard reach. This roam clear has been completely fallen off from, I take that back, on the side of TYDE as they start to make their way into a shrine. But really, all that Fury need to do is sit down, bunker down in these positions where they just simply can't be flushed out. Tex is able to take the 1 onto Dark, but it's still a 2-on-4 in favor of Fury.
Yeah, this is really awkward. And like you said, this is the damage of not running a hard breach, isn't it? You've got 2 tin can openers on the Buck, but you need a hell of a lot more than that. You need some serious fragging power. Let's see if Tex and Nate can get it done. Nate knows the exact position of the enemy, but he's already used his nades. Worried about a Valcam. Caught in 4K. Takes it down. Soft wall, though, on the other side. Might be able to do some damage to it, but of course you punch that, and it may well be met with a spray from the defense. It's an easy round closeout for Fury.
Much better from Fury. They realized the positional advantage that they had since TYDE weren't running any hard breach. They were able to just sit on the site, sit inside of Drum, inside of Shrine even, and it was very much largely uncontested because Fury just simply couldn't, TYDE simply couldn't get into those positions. Same thing with the site as well, right? Because that main wall remained closed, we saw players still able to play behind that long bar inside of Office, behind the small bar, completely safe, as it would usually be opened up with like a thermite charge or something like that, right? And so TYDE falling short to this operator composition that they're bringing so far onto SKYSCRAPER.
Yeah, I feel like with the Thatcher ban, and as you mentioned it, the Kaid left in, it becomes really difficult to open up these walls.
Yeah.
And it feels like TYDE had just put hard reach in the too hard basket, pun intended. And they're just going for all this other shenanigans instead. See if we can just kind of, you know, loosey-goosey make it work. It was great on that first round on Karaoke Tea Room, but guess what? Fury don't need to defend that too often. They actually elected not to retry it, and this time actually go to the tertiary side of Kitchen. But they have decided to bring hard breach this time. Funnily enough, it's a Maverick. You still have the Ace, the Hibana, the Thermite left in the back pocket.
Does interest me what TYDE might be going for on their attack, but we'll have to wait and see. On the side of Fury, they've chosen to bring along the castle, segmenting off this west side of the map, trying to slow down the push of TYDE if they were to go for a map sweep.
I love seeing how teams interpret these tertiary sites because they're always a little bit different. Different teams run them in different ways, and We don't always get to see it here on Skyscraper. Like you mentioned, that castle manipulating a lot of the map. Looks like upstairs a lot of vertical lines open. Ooh, but a good drone actually in the geisha window. Just spotted out the castle's position, I believe. I wonder if this is going to be a top-down take. Looks like Nate is actually getting to work on this geisha wall.
Might not be a bad read, this Maverick, because Cade has been left in. Maybe they're reading into the fact that, okay, these walls are actually quite hard to clear with that regular, conventional hard breach, so we need to trick some of these walls. Hasn't been brought this time, happens to be a bandit, but not a bad read from the side of TYDE. They're also starting to get work on this ground floor as well, anticipating that eventually Fury Plays will have to reconvene back onto site. We've already got Hysterics in very close proximity to the site. He might actually catch someone out. That's I9 on the other side, but is not able to connect the headshot.
Good effort. It's funny, isn't it? Like you said, TYDE do have the opportunity to take above. They have that Maverick for hard breach, but he's barely used any of it. I don't think he's actually got the wall open yet. Instead, they're trying to make plays here and there and everywhere, and Fury is starting to read into it, gaining a bit of confidence. Like Hollis goes for an aggressive peek and finds the opener.
An ambitious take is what TYDE are going for. They've still got control on this ground floor, but if they don't get control of the top floor, they are going to fall short to these vertical holes. Mentalist is able to make things slightly easier, evening up the man count and taking down Lycolis.
All right. Even up. TYDE, what are you going to do? Where is the push? There is no single tip to this spear. TYDE is playing a bit of a death by 1,000 cuts game. Push everywhere all at once. If they can time it on the back of this logic bomb, they might be able to make it work, though Shibe starts to make his way forward, making this play as he is always want to do. A flash goes in, worried about the flank behind him. He hasn't taken much map control, and so he's going to have to make his impact count. Spots the player in the side. Is he just able to lock in the kill? He is, and Tech's also to double down. The problem now, lack of map control, and BG Man above the site can deny this plant. Hajime on for the flank as well. The attackers are now the defenders as TYDE have to force this plant down, and it looks like they're in pole position to secure the round. They might not have the diffuser, but they have locked in all 5 kills needed. And that is the round for TYDE.
Good push from TYDE. That was really well coordinated on the side of the horizontal on that ground floor. They realized that top floor control was quite ambitious. They couldn't get it, even though Nate put pressure onto the wall. And so they simply just timed that ground floor control push together, hitting the only one person, I believe, that was left on the site. The second person was just rotating down from the stairs. And so all they needed to do was take down one anchor. By not being able to contest that vertical, I suppose the vertical lines just weren't deep enough for those anchors in the top floor to see that entry come through. They're able to exploit that and sneak their way into the side, and eventually Fury lose that one out.
And now Fury starting to ask a couple of questions. With that exhibition and Samurai locked out, do they go back and retry Kitchen? They just failed. Or do they retry Tea Room Karaoke where they failed previously? And it looks like it's Tea Karaoke this time around. And TYDE, they didn't bring Hard Breach at all last time. They're making quite a few operator repicks, though. We've even got the Monty teased out. Looks like it will stick. Whereas Fury, I believe it's pretty much the same defense. We still have that Mirror. We still have that Warden.
This might be a bit overly critical of me, Dev, so maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it just feels like Fury are getting a little bit overcomplicated in this defense, really. They have a Mirror. They can hold on to these sites and this anchor positions for dear life, right? TYDE, because they're never bringing these hard breach, they've got to flood. And all that Fury need to do is dial it back, play really passive, and eventually TYDE players are going to have to run in the last 30 seconds. That's what we saw for the last 2 or 3 rounds in a row now, right? But Fury continuously go for these extended holes, opening up a lot of walls, making vertical, that type of thing, and it just doesn't feel like they need all those tools against the attack that TYDE are bringing.
Well, what tool do they need to deal with this Monty? Because they don't have any of the usual suspects. No Smoke, no Lesion, what else? Oryx. What else count as Monty? I mean, there's quite a slew. Not many C4s either. You got 2, like Hollis and I9. If I was Fury and I knew there was a Monty, I probably would have brought one of those. So instead, they're going to have to improvise when they eventually see that Montaigne.
I9 seems to have a pretty good read on the fact that TYDE like to look for a bottom-up type push. They've done it 2 or 3 times now on these sites, and I9's sitting at the bottom of these back stairs, just waiting for the push to come through. A drone might spot him out here. He can take that down. If he wants to fall off, he could, but is actually going to keep holding onto this control, knowing this is what TYDE want to go for, and he's going to fight tooth and nail for it.
I mean, this is the thing, right? Tide all game, they're basically just playing a lurker's skyscraper. They're not having a direct push. That, like I said before, no tip to the spear. There's no single blow. There's no single focus. It's a little bit of everywhere, a little bit of everything. It's the way that they like to play. It showcases their individual prowess. They want to use that to their advantage.
Mentalist is going to be taken down by I9. That was the entry denial there on that ground floor. Meanwhile, the rest of Fury Play starting to babysit that site. Dark is going to be forced off of his shield inside of Shrine. The rest of the Tide players are claustrophobic here on this north side entry.
Oh, but it's getting to be very difficult now. Eventually, there is a pick, almost a double for Shibe. He's feeling that pressure, and I9 just goes and re-peaks him. It's all up to these two poor players on the balcony. And when those entries do not fall for the way of Tide, then Tide themselves fall apart. All on Tex now in the 1v whatever, it doesn't matter. I9 has a huge round. And Fury getting a little bit more confidence now. They're reading into Tide's playstyle.
That was a perfect phrase for it as well. They are really starting to get on the ball with the way that Tide are approaching the map. Not just approaching the entire round, but simply approaching that early game. The way they try and sneakily hop in through a window, get control of a stairwell. We've seen Shibe do that a few times now. Now they're starting to read into it, and now they're starting to play much more passive positions as well. We saw that roam, even though it was extended horizontally, the Fury plays fell off much more early. They started playing shields, started to play the utility left on the site, and that kind of passive play into the way that Tide are playing is exactly what Fury need to punish them.
All right, let's play the game. We've 2/3 of the way through the first half, Manny. Let's play the game of what is the path for the course this half. Now, obviously, we've never had Tide play this map. For Fury, they are a much more defender-favored team on this map. My stats say 58% defense is won, but only 32% attacks won. So what do we reckon? Does this need to be a 4-2 for Fury to feel confident coming out of this half?
In my opinion, it absolutely does, because I think when Tide get onto their defending half, they're going to be very scary. Tide are super good at the early game. They're excellent at denying entries. They're excellent at playing through that mid-round in really aggressive ways. And if Fury get onto that attack half and they struggle as much as Tide are at the moment, it's going to be very, very difficult.
And let's be honest, after the game tonight, the difference in a win and a loss for Tide, it's not huge. Right? If they win this, they're like, yeah, let's go. We didn't go 0 and 5 or whatever it was. The difference for Fury is a major spot. So the pressure is in different leagues for these different teams, and Hysterics is showing that he does not give a damn. Such a quick entry, 30 seconds into the round, he's already hunted down and taken down the most dangerous player from Fury. It's I9 and the Warden going out early.
Well played as well from Hysterics. Must have been a pre-placed drone or something like that to see him cross over into that barbecue side of the map. Now, having punished I9, that is a lot of your early game being taken away. Hajime is there trying to look for the trade inside of Drum, but really he's not going to find anyone as they're starting to loiter their way around the ground floor.
And once again, we hear that Dokkaebi ring on out. Now, with the Dokkaebi change, even I9 dead on cameras will be affected and won't be able to see where these Tide players are coming from on those cams for the 15 seconds that Logic Bomb is active. And Tide is starting this push up, but will they know about Hajime to the left in the shadows, hiding in the back of Drum on the boost spot? And it seems like Shibe has absolutely no clue. He's surely going to lose his life here. Hajime bides his time, he finds his moment, and he finds the kill, bringing back the numbers onto his side to an equality. Dark goes for a peek and furthers the advantage for Fury.
Well played from Dark to support his teammate getting out of that position inside of Drum. Hajime could have been in a world of pain if that trade came out from Mentalist, but Dark timing that swing really well onto Hysterics as he went for that peek was perfect teamwork on the side of Fury. Now they're in the man advantage once again, and they just need to play passive. These walls are going to stay closed. Once again, no hard breach. They have to funnel up these main stairs and jump through the windows.
Time is ticking away, Tide. What have you got for us? Nate's not even been able to get a full breach, but here's Mentalist. He's done the difficult task of moving his way up the stairs, but on his retreat, Hajime hunts him down. It's now a 2v3 for poor Tide as they try and break the advantage that Fury has started to establish for themselves. It's just Tex and Nate, both of them here on the balcony. No way to remove the soft part of this wall. It's looking pretty grim, Mandy.
That's exactly it. Even if Nate was able to trick this, well, what are they going to get out of it? Just one line of sight. All the Fury players are sitting tight with only 13 seconds left to go.
He gets in. How does he do it? I don't know how he did it, but he managed to get a little bit of a cooked rotate. He gets in through it. He dies straight away. Tex tries to find a 1v2 and can't quite get it. Fury now. They have the lead. They're one step closer to that major spot.
Like, Hollis must have been just about as shocked as we were to see a man in the building from the breach there after that abstract art that went on the wall.
Yeah, I certainly wouldn't be throwing a can of tomatoes at that. I'll tell you what.
TYDE once again falling short to not being able to open up those walls and that roam clear not working out in their favor. To Fury's credit, they played that roam super well. They not only did they fall off in time, they capitalized on a lack of intel from the side of TYDE, but they also supported each other in that fall off. And by having such a strong man advantage, even though that execute almost worked from TYDE coming up the main stairs, the trades went in the way of Fury and they're able to close out the round.
Really starting to feel the stakes of this game, Mandy. I'm starting to get a little bit nervous for Fury. I know that TYDE definitely not on the same level as Fury, but at the end of the day, it just comes down to who plays better in this 45, 1 hour long match, however long this game goes for on Skyscraper. That's all that matters. Doesn't matter who's the better team overall. It matters who plays better right here, right now. And if TYDE manage to even this up, they get this last attack round, then they will be, in my view, probably favored to take the map. Like you said, when they switch to their defense, they will be very dangerous.
Fury have gone for this extended hold upstairs with the castle and all the vertical lines again. It worries me a little bit. Last time we saw them play, it wasn't super successful. TYDE was sort of just able to slip through the cracks of the defense because this hold is quite ambitious, right? There's a lot of angles that you need to be actively watching. And the problem with that is that if you are TYDE and you're very good at finding timings, especially on attack, that's something you can exploit in this defense, right? And so for Fury, it does worry me that they've gone for this again, but I hope they have a better read on the entries that TYDE are going for, and they're trying to contest it a little bit earlier.
Once again, that Dockerby call goes out. It has been a pretty good game for entries for TYDE, but not always able to convert them. Last round, a good example of that. But can they even get this entry? The longer you play against TYDE, the more you start to read into their play style, and it looks like they're starting to change it. This is what we want to see, isn't it, Mandy? Nate, once again, using that Maverick to open up a breach and give TYDE an entry point and a real area of pressure onto Fury. It's actually just lines of sight, I guess.
Not just that, but Shibe's also got some really quick horizontal pressure, being supported by Mentalist now, just about to open up this castle barricade. That's going to, oh, never mind. That's going to put a lot of pressure onto these anchors that are starting to sit their way around bar. That's like Hollis, the one babysitting this side of the bomb site, worrying about the horizontal push that will come through later on into the round.
Ooh, wow, look at this repel. Like, Hollis is kind of stuck here. Not sure which player that is on repel. I believe it's Hysterics, cutting off the position very nicely. It is Hysterics. Is he able to see the player as he crosses in? Doesn't quite have the angle, and Lycolis falls back. Hysterics goes for the pinch, sees the player. Can he land enough shots? Eventually he does get the down, and Mentalist should be able to secure.
Good read once again from TYDE. The vertical lines of sight that Fury have got onto the bomb site are not really against the push that TYDE are going for. They're not really facing this way, this eastern side of the map.
No.
And I9, even though he's able to take down Shibe as he goes for that entry, the onslaught of TYDE has come through.
Still, Lycolis is down, but I9 has such a powerful advanced position here. He doesn't know it, but Nate's just on the other side of that wall. What a great shot! I9 once again! He lights up the scoreboard, and TYDE are going down in this round. It's a 1v3 now for Mentalist, to finally securing that kill onto the down player, but it's not going to be easy. Feeling that pressure, BG now to confirm it. And that is the 4-2 half that Fury were looking for.
Really well played from I9 that time. He realized that TYDE do look for that horizontal control. They don't really go for a full map clear, right? They don't do the steps one at a time. I9 knows that TYDE are just going to try and look for a cheap way to get into the side. And that was just going through this ground floor, not clearing out the vertical lines. And by sitting in bar, being the thorn in the side, and another person they had to worry about not leaving the site unattended, is exactly what I9 needed to do to defend from that TYDE onslaught.
Right, Mandy, now let's see if TYDE can put the money where their mouth is. They're on the defense. In theory, this should be the more favored side. They have the Kaid available. A mute not available, but it didn't seem to affect Tide on the attack much. Let's see if Fury will take advantage of the lack of mute jammers. This is where we start to see if Fury have got what it takes to break through. 3 more rounds and they're going to that major, Mandy, as Gladiators look on in anticipation, terrified at the prospect of Fury doing what every other team in the league has done and take down Tide.
Look, I could completely call this wrong, but it is not over yet, Dev. Tide, they're starting on this defense, and look at the defense they're looking for. Very extended roam. They've dedicated 3 or 4 reinforcements already to this eastern side of the map, looking to contest the early entry from the side of Fury. Now, what are Fury going to go for? They have brought the Monty, so if they want to go for something more direct, immediately put that pressure onto that west side of the map, they could. But it seems like they're going to go for a roam clear.
Yeah, and for Fury, we're finally seeing some serious hard breach. We got the ace. We didn't have a single round where Tide picked Ace, Hibana, or Thermite, the 3 primary hard breaches. They always use the Buck secondary hard breach or the Maverick to really limited success, if I'm honest. The thing is, for BG, man, those ace... Oh, okay, not protected by the electric walls from TYDE in this case, so there is a beachhead now for Fury to establish.
Oh, but this is such a tough roam clear for Fury to do. The Monty is gone and
no.
followed up by someone behind him, but it's actually like close to find the entry pick off this round. Even Smoke is getting in. It takes for the double kill. Mentalist to pick another one back up, and suddenly the trades go back and forth, and somehow Fury end up behind. How did that happen?
It's pure undiluted chaos, Mandy, and that is where Tide thrive. As soon as they had the call on that Monty, Tex rotated over with the C4 below. That was the killing blow. But I9 said, hey, we're not dead yet. 2v2, even man count. I9 still has 2 grenades. BG Man has 2 drones, 2 claymores, and even some Selmas left. So there's plenty of util for Fury to get this job done.
Plenty of utility, but how much information do they have? I9 is going to send out one of his Geminis, but actually there's a player just inside of Shrine that's holding onto this line of sight, holding onto this entry for as long as he can. I9 finally spots someone out. That rotate is going to be pretty tricky to play against as well. With this push from the eastern side they're going for, there's a lot of aggressive line of sights that are watching I9's entry. He's going to have to be very, very careful about this.
There are choices here to be made for Fury. They've got time to work with. They've got util. They have information. They've got to get it done right. I9 already on 8 kills, more than anyone on Tide has managed to get so far. Top frag in the server. And he's hungry for 2 more. He's hungry to go back to the international stage.
Trying to bait out the Gemini, not a bad play from I9. Anticipating that a peek might come through from that rotate. Just trying to bounce an 8 off, clearing the position in mezzanine. That could be a cheeky one if there were any Tide players there, but in fact there's not. 30 seconds left. No drones in the site yet, and these Fury players have to double up. Tex, he's looking for the peek. He can connect some shots, and BG Man goes down.
Well, now it's all up to I9. He's got to step up now. We know he can do it, but will he make his mark on this game? 1 kill, and the second one doesn't know he's coming from the same spot. And Tide can lock in their first defense, far closer than it should have been.
Dev, that is exactly how I anticipated a Tide defense was going to go. To the T. That is exactly what I thought was going to happen when they got on their defending half. Tide, they're so good at this early game. They are so good at it. We've seen them throughout the entire stage find these opening picks, especially on this defense. We even had the Smoke player of Hysterics get involved in this early game with the shotgun, pushing to the other side of the map. That is your anchor. That is your construction anchor. He was on the bomb site probably like less than 10 seconds ago before that even all went down. It's just, Tide are so relentless at taking these early engagements and winning them out, and especially on Skyscraper, where it is so hard to play the cutoffs, where entry points are limited, even when you have hard breach on the board. That is where Tide will thrive in.
And they're really happy to just throw out the rulebook and try some new and unusual things. We've got the Rook, which isn't too crazy these days. He's been buffed, and also it's Tide, right? They'll pick fragging operators. But the thing that's really strange to me, can we have a look at the main exhibition walls, the office walls, Sky? Because I'm pretty sure they just opened those up. Yeah. Andy, please analyze this.
Nate is on the cameras. He's having a think, trying to catch someone in 4K and do the good runnings outs. But I don't think he's caught anyone. I don't think he's caught anyone in 4K, but he's still sitting on this. He's still sitting on the rotate. See, this is Tide. This is exactly the kind of things that they're going to try and pull. And he's going to fall off it anyway.
He didn't drone it. He didn't drone it. The Twitch drone went the wrong way. They actually don't know it's open. Late reinforce on the run-out spot, but still looks like TYDE have no intention of reinforcing the site.
Well, why do they need to, right? They've got 2 mirrors that are facing this breach. They really don't need to reinforce the breach if they can hold on to these 2 mirror positions that are watching it, right? Oh, but a switch drone's going to go through. Is that going to claim the mirror? Oh, it doesn't. Nate's able to take that down. Thank goodness.
Yeah, and that's a critical one, isn't it? The thing is, the Buck here has the ability to just make mincemeat of that soft wall, so it's not like Fury are going to be stumped by what to do about that. They've also now got their Monty up and spotted both of those mirror positions. There's a couple of ways you could deal with that. They could get Vert on this mirror we're looking at right now, as the Gemini has just made sure that that area below is clear, and I think that's the Zoth to just move in. Might be able to double impact below it. Could even find a kill.
And that could be the hole that Fury needs to be able to clear out this position. Now, that first mirror is not pressured from the vertical. That one is a hard floor, but the second one inside of that that exhibition room, that one is, and that's where a 1 vertical nade has just gone out from, hasn't connected onto anybody, however. But Fury don't have a terrible read onto this bomb site so far. All the TYDE players, they've convened on this top floor, on the other side of the map. They've been given a lot of real estate for free in that ground floor.
Oh, but here comes the alibi. Mentalist is coming for this flank, very aware. Oh no, he didn't see. He sees the gun barrel now, but he loses the fight. You can't afford to lose those Mentalists. Man advantage for Fury. And on top of that, they now have the ability to go below uncontested, pop that mirror. A second mirror popped as well. It's devastating now for TYDE. Nate caught between a rock and a hard place. And this is just so difficult now for TYDE to try and recompose. Thankfully, Tex is on the case. He's found a double, looking for another now. He's got to make this rook count.
Oh no, but at least TYDE players have started to claw back the pick. Shibe's just found another one here on those main stairs, and now there are only 2 players left of Fury. They haven't been able to capitalize on that real estate that they were given in the ground floor. They haven't been able to convert it into a main stairs push, and now a smoke canister is blocking off their entry into the site. It's not looking good for Fury.
Man advantage for TYDE, but Fury have a lot of the ingredients they need to. What they don't have is the crossfire that TYDE do, and that's an easy cleanup from Nate. Great game there from TYDE, great play. And they managed to even up the scoreline.
Didn't mind what TYDE were able to do there. Even though Fury had an okay read into that round, they went, okay, TYDE are giving us that ground floor for free, so they tried to make use of it. They couldn't convert that up into the next floor. That was the next added step that they had to achieve if they wanted to get their way into the bomb site. By not being able to clear out those mirrors from below, one of them on a hard floor, of course, that enabled the TYDE players to still be pretty comfortable on the site, even though that breach was open. And Fury not being able to convert those entries through that mid-round just really, it completely threw them apart, and TYDE able to clean up another defense.
Hey, Mandy, guess what?
What?
3 rounds, Mandy.
Yep.
3 rounds is all it's going to take for TYDE to put Fury down. And guess what that would mean? Gladiators go to the major. Despite failing to even take Elevate to overtime in the first game today, despite losing that auspicious match, that so important one, when the major was within their hands, GG still have a chance, and they are cheering on TYDE like nobody ever has before. This winless team with a chance to throw a serious spanner in the works at the top end to send Fury home once again. Man, this is, this could have been a dead rubber game, Mandy. If GG had just done what they needed to do in game 1, this would be dead rubber. And yet, TYDE is showing us why you can never count them out. 6 Playdays deep.
Dev, are you really telling me that you went into an APAC South lane and you thought that it wasn't going to be exciting and you thought that there wasn't going to be any upsets? Because, oh boy, are you so wrong. Tex, once again, playing that early round, is able to find that entry pick onto Hajime. There is a trade to come through Dark. He's there, but not before being taken down by Mentalist. Look at the teamwork on the side of TYDE in this early round. They are so good at it.
Oh, they're just having a laugh, aren't they? They said, guys, come on, where was this? Come Playday 1. They are ready to go, though. They are getting aggressive. They are playing their style of Siege. And even if Fury have a bit of util here, a bit of util there, TYDE have the numbers.
I9 is trying to make his way through this northeastern side of the building. Seeing if any more TYDE players get aggressive on him. And in fact, they do that. Shibe getting a bit overzealous with that peek onto the window. Man count, not even yet, but a little bit more manageable.
I9 could be to Fury what Onigiri is to elevate. The DMR man, he's hit double digits now. He wants to put Fury on his back, drag them over that line. It's a 3v4 now, but I9 here's the player, it's Tex. Dueling around that main stairs. I9 ever so patient, has this long line of sight, but Fury need an extra pick to even up this man count.
Well, he's got a long line of sight, but he could be walking straight into a crossfire, right? As soon as he picks his way out of this little box room, there's already play on the main stairs. It could be crossfired by the one inside of reception.
Double.
But the double entry is going to come through from bathroom instead. Do they know that Hysterics is here? They seem to know.
Oh, no!
Hysterics goes to the peak, is taken down by Locolis. Hatch controller, the vertical is still there for TYDE. It doesn't work out in the favor, and Tex able to clean one up. Now 2 versus 1. Plant is going down for Fury.
Oh, and Tex opened up this round. He's going to have to close it as well. Suppressed MPX for the Aussie as he tries to redeem himself. 1v2. He's got to isolate these fights. No C4 to speak of. And you can see Fury are playing it so well. The bait peek and Fury to confirm it from the 3v5. They finally get a round of attack here and once again take the lead.
And thank goodness they did. We were really getting worried for a bit there for Fury. They just could not close out any attacks onto TYDE, and even in that round, I was still worried for them, especially with that early round, how that went, the teamwork that went through from TYDE on the other side of the map. Thankfully, I9 and that double entry that came in from Bathroom was able to help them get into the site, punish the fact that TYDE were not actively looking through that hatch, not actively looking through that vertical to deny that entry. Just happened to be some really great timing and good intel as well to clear out Hysterics, his position, get that plant down, eventually win out the round.
Goes to show, Mandy, you can't call it until the round is over. TYDE found 2 opening picks there. It was a 5-on-3. But funnily enough, it seems like the pattern this game is that the opening pick tends to lead to the round lost. I have missed 1 opening pick round, but aside from that, we've had 6 rounds where the opening kill team lost the round, and only 2 rounds where they managed to convert it to a round win. It's a pretty bad ratio of opening kills conversion. And I guess that just goes hand in hand with TYDE, right? That is what we always see. It is happening, though, I will say, for Fury as well.
Something interesting that I found about this match, especially Skyscraper, is the use of the vertical, the use of the 2 floors through this map. Now, we haven't seen Skyscraper a whole lot, but usually when we watch Skyscraper, there's just a lot of pressure horizontally. We don't see a lot of teams go for that bottom uptake. But what that does mean is that even though you might have some kills go one way, even though a team might have a lot more man count, if they're on that vertical and they're watching the wrong vertical angle, or they're not actively holding what they need to be, their impact isn't felt in the rounds. And it just goes to show that this vertical knowledge on this Skyscraper map hasn't been really fully matured in this game and in this region just as of now. Shibe's able to find an entry pick here onto I9. That's a really crucial play to take down on the side of Fury.
And a more iconic duo than TYDE and finding kills while we're trying to talk about something else. Shibe's found one, and he's still aggro on this. It's been droned multiple times. He just does not stop sprinting, running all the way around. In fact, TYDE are deciding to fall back. They pick up their shield and bring back a little bit. Where's Hysterics going to place that down?
Can I just say, that is unheard of from TYDE. They are dialing it back. They're controlling themselves. Oh my goodness. We have never seen this before. Oh, and there's a shield that's even going to watch the east side take to come through from later. Genius. Love this from TYDE. Something we've never seen. And they reinforce off the rotate.
Wow.
Dev. Wow.
Never seen before scenes. TYDE playing less aggressively. I'm a bit scared about that shield at the back stairs, though, because if you lose backstairs control, you will lose that shield, and it can be used against you to fight the site. So really a lot of pressure on Hysterics there. But to be frank, the pressure mostly is on Fury. They're the ones fighting from behind, 4v5.
But that's exactly it. They've put the shield on the top of those backstairs because they know that Fury are not going to go from that west side. This entire take is from the east now. There's one in the ground floor. He's about to be in a tussle with another. I think that's Tex just around the corner from him. Probably doesn't know he's there. Looking for a vertical nade now is Hajime, just up through this mezzanine position onto the main stairs. But oh, look at this. Hang on. Maybe he is going to find this backstairs shield.
I mean, it's anyone's game who wins this fight. No. It's Tex who does it. He's stepped up now for his team. Double digits for Tex. 3v5 for Fury, but we've seen them do it before. It was just last round they managed a 3-on-5. Now it's a 3v4, but there's only 20 seconds left to get it done. Lycolis does have the angle, but he doesn't have the aim. Nate bests him and is looking for another. BG Man and Dark, they are called upon. They must step up, but it's Nate once again. He's looking to take us to break point, and he does it. A huge round from the TYDE. We are a 5-5 on the scoreline, man. You just cannot separate these teams.
Wow, I'm so impressed by that from TYDE. Time and time again, we have seen this team throughout the stage do so well in the early round, incredibly well in the early round, better than literally any other team in this region, and then get to the mid round and capitulate because they get overexcited and they get overzealous and they keep peeking things. But watching them just then through that mid round come back, rotate their utility, reinforce off walls that could be a potential hole in that defense was exactly what TYDE needed to do to close out that round. As soon as they did that, and as soon as that ground floor fight was lost, I knew that TYDE had won that round just off that macro decision that they made through the mid round. That was perfect from them.
TYDE are adapting. Isn't it beautiful? We're seeing it before our very eyes. We've been watching them all stage long, and TYDE are really learning from their mistakes and applying it when it matters most for Fury, not for them. Remember, TYDE, they can't make the major. The impact of this game for them is negligible. Doesn't affect their SI implications, doesn't affect the major. For Fury, this is huge. This means making it into top 2, making that major, or sitting out and letting Gladiators go where Fury has been looking to go for such a long time and always seen their brothers and sisters in Elevate and GG and Direwolves get the opportunities that they believe they deserve. Now they've taken their tactical timeout, Fury, and we're back into the game. What do they need to say? What do they need to have said in those moments to make sure that they are ready here to push it to match point?
I wonder how Fury are going to change their philosophy against TYDE. This is a really tough team to read, right? The micro game that TYDE has got, unmatched. They've proven that to us all stage long. The macro game is something that I thought that Fury would have the one-up on them, but after watching that last round and seeing how TYDE have sort of opened up their strat book a little bit, especially bringing along this mirror, the way they're using their construction anchors, the way they're using their shields, it feels like TYDE somehow have a pretty good hold onto this map, even on their defense half, and just, I'm pretty impressed by this so far. Already aggressive shield goes up to face the roam clear, delaying that western side take from the map. Reinforcements dedicated to it as well. Feels like TYDE playing their classic early game. Fury, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to hit the site straight away, try and avoid this early game, or are they going to contest it and try and be smarter about it?
The advantage for Fury here is that they know this setup. They know most of it. They know this deal with the mirrors. They know about this unreinforced wall. It's what TYDE did last time, and so Fury might feel a little bit better prepared to counter it. But kind of like you said, they do seem to be putting a lot of pressure on this roam clear, which feels like it's playing into TYDE's hands.
Yeah, not only that, but look at what TYDE have just done to adapt the roam clear as well. We've got 2 players already that were positioned on this side, but we've got 2 or 3 other TYDE players that have just rotated over as well. We've got aggressive lines of sight that go into drum. That's to contest the double window hop in. We've got another player contesting the cutoff from that shrine balcony as well. It just feels like TYDE have got a really great read on the push that Fury are going for, and Fury have to be very careful in this early round.
Oh, but here it comes. First kill could be for Tex as he rounds that corner, sprays through, can't land the shots he's needed against Dark. Both players low on ammo, but Dark blocks it in. Is Mentalist able to trade? He goes back to that same position, but he gets caught out! Dark has stepped up, and he's taken advantage of TYDE's aggression once again. It's a 5v3 now, and Fury are another step closer to match point.
What are you going to do now, TYDE? You've got to keep getting aggressive. Look for that hero play, and it seems like that's what they're going to do. Hysterics, they haven't cleared their shield on the top of Shrine. He's able to use that and find a pick back onto Fury. Fury, what's the plan? Are you going to start rotating that hard reach over opening up the site, or will they make use of this western side of the map that they've now just cleared out?
A lot of questions for Fury. They must come up with the answers. As TYDE try to make a play, you can see Nate on the site feeling that pressure, getting aggressive on this open wall, and he's going to swing this as well. He wants to find this kill as the Hibana's trying to counter that mirror, but Dark has now found another one. He's seemingly unstoppable, and he's got this long line of sight as well. TYDE feeling this pressure, but finally, a moment of reprieve as they take down Dark.
Shibe rounding the corner of this exhibition window, looking for the player outside of that single housing window. Oh, is he going to round the corner and kill him? Doesn't seem like it. Shibe's still undetected, but look at what the push is coming from on the side of Fury, all on the western side of the map. They just have to make these trades work.
Oh, it's an awkward push for Fury, but it's just Nate now. No C4. Vector in hand in the 1v3, spots out Hajime, who's hunting for it. He wants it so bad. Fury pushed down and Nate cannot survive. Fury find match point and are 1 round away from the major.
Really good read from Fury. I was impressed by the way that they were able to play that macro game there. As soon as they got that control on the western side of the map, they knew, okay, the Nate hold that they've got with that mirror on the wall, that's kind of no-go. We don't like that. That's nasty, right? So we're going to just push in from this west side. That's not where the utility was facing. They really only had to deal with one shield, and that was about it, right? By having all of their players push in where there was no utility facing them, it really put a dent in the defense that TYDE had. Those mirrors, they were facing the wrong way for that push. There was only one shield to deal with it. There was nothing else that was denying the walls on that side of the map, and that's exactly what Fury were able to take advantage of. The macro game has improved tremendously on this team.
Oh, can you feel it, Mandy? Can you feel it happening
feel
for
it.
Fury? I can't believe after such a turbulent year, stage 1, not getting a single point. And the win condition for them going to a major in stage 3 is making sure that TYDE finish without getting a single point. What a circular world we live in. It was once upon a time that these TYDE players were on the verge of making their own major as Invictus, where they were one of the promised teams, the super teams of APAC South. And oh, how times have changed. Fury are now gunning for a major spot and could potentially secure it in just under 3 minutes' time.
Well, Fury, they are going for that major spot, but TYDE are trying real hard to gate-crash the party. I'll tell you that. Once again, looking for an extended roam. This repeat of the bomb site, they've changed the philosophy, TYDE. They've completely closed off the wall, and they've chosen to bring the Cade instead to try and keep that one closed. They've realized that by dedicating all of their utility just inside this office room, that's putting all their eggs in one basket, and that's not what you want when Fury are starting to get on the ball with this macro game.
Drone work now for I9. Starts to scout out, loses it, but he gets some good info, knows that position. The TYDE, knows that there is a TYDE. Now Fury have to get to work on removing that electrical so they can get a breach on the wall.
Oh no, I've just realized that Dark has actually not brought the baby EMPs on the Dokkaebi. He's got flashbangs instead, and so clearing these TYDE charges, if they're in a very pesky spot, I've got absolutely no idea where they are. They could be in a very tricky spot to clear. Oh, it's actually just in the middle of the top wall there, so they could get it through vertical nade, perhaps, but it will be quite challenging to get this wall open.
Attackers recovered the bomb diffuser.
Seems like a slow start to this round, and we're halfway through, and it's just the util game back and forth. TYDE are dialing back this aggression. This is uncharacteristic of them. Is this the moment to do it, though?
Oh, there we go. I9 is able to take down that electric claw from below. It wasn't in a pesky position as Nate might have been able to hide it. And now that Selma can go on the wall, can start to deny this breach. A C4 prep to go straight through it. It doesn't connect. May have taken down a Selma though. Oh, no, it doesn't. That wall still gets opened. Fury suddenly, they have that in onto the bomb site now. Oh, an early entry as well from BG, man. Bit aggressive. In fact, text to double down.
This is so grim now for Fury. They have won a 3v5 before on this site. But Hajime needs to land this shot. He does take down Tex. That's a big one. And this unreinforced wall is potentially mincemeat for Hajime as well on the Ash. Bit of a flank now from Mentalist, but he is spotted out, and I9's found his own. This is getting eerily close now as Mentalist manages to trade back that position. I9 in the 1v2, but we know he is capable. We know he's done it before. G36 in hand. No nades to speak of, but he does have that diffuser. As the Vultures start to swarm, as the defenders start to triangulate his position, he can play around this. 13 seconds, fakes out the diffuser, baiting out the push. Surely he can't find Mentalist here,
No.
surely not. He spots out the player, pistol down, but the trade is there. TYDE are not done yet. And for the first time in stage 3, they will find a point on the standings as we head into overtime.
If there is any time to come into stage 3 with a point on the standings, it is now for TYDE. They are playing spoils. to the story of Fury, to their dream of making it to the major. I just cannot believe the kind of siege that we are seeing, Dev. Skyscraper, of any map that you could take a TYDE defense to, Fury. What a gamble it was to go to this map. The way that TYDE are playing this defense is just so much more masterful than what Fury are able to do on their half.
And you know what, Mandy? We're going to continue as well. It's Fury still attacking, TYDE back on that defense where they have been so much more comfortable, as you very much predicted. By all rights, this should be a TYDE game from here on out. They have the advantage. They have the defense in overtime. And in the next 2 or 3 rounds, we're going to find out where the Fury's fate is sealed by this newly reprised rising TYDE that has finally found their form.
Can't believe it. I can't believe what is happening in this area at the moment. TYDE looking for, once again, an extended roam onto the other side. They've dedicated some barbed wire, the utility, even an ADS to the other side of the map, completely on the other side of the map. Anticipating that Fury are looking for that roam clear. Now, last time we saw Fury, they went straight to hit the bomb site. They've brought on the Monty, they've brought on the Glaz, and they've got the hard breach they need if they want to go for a direct take, and it seems like that's what Fury are going to do. They don't want to contest this roam clear early because it is so scary to play against TYDE.
And the Monty's come back out for I9. The top fragger is now on Monty. Lycolis on the Glaz. Shibe once again aggressive. TYDE have got this confidence back that they lacked in the last round. What are Fury going to be able to do? Overtime has been pushed. There's no second chances here.
Desperate times call for desperate measures, and that means putting your top fragger on Monty. We're not a proper gun. We've got an entry coming through, though, in this ground floor that's dark. He's going to be able to pinch out the player on these back stairs, just rounding the corner now. Pings do go out. He knows that he's there, but Tex, he can round the corner. It does a little bit of damage, but is not able to take him down. And Fury, now they've got control of this top floor, of this part of this entry. It's just about converting it into the site.
And Lycolis has doubled down as well, Manny. Is this really happening?
It's happening.
It's on the attack, but Fury are relentless and they aren't stopping anytime soon. Hard breach as well. Lycolis has found another one. This Glaz, it's exactly what they needed. Hysterics and Nate now. Both have had a fantastic game, and it's just Nate left. 2 players down, or on the ground at least. But I9's forcing that diffuser down, and a nigh impossible post-plant now with a minute to spare. It's a grim moment now for Nate, as Fury are likely to find match point.
That was a really bright idea from Fury to go for such a minimal mistake and not contest that roam of a TYDE. Nate's now on a little bit of a tussle with this Monty. He's probably thinking, who on earth is that on the Monty? And you would never guess that it was I9. He's starting to contest the window as well, but this post plan is just absolutely impossible to win out. How frustrating is this?
Doesn't matter at this point. Surely not. When the player on the window could make this a bit scary. Oh no, he's fully out of ammo with both guns, the poor guy. 4 bullets. There you go. He does lock in that kill, but at this point it doesn't matter. Fury have done the damage that are needed. And there you go, a consolation prize for Nate, who just couldn't get it done in the clutch. And Fury, once again, have a major point within their grasp.
Really like the way that Fury approached that. That was such a great read into the way that TYDE are playing their defense. They knew that TYDE early game is very hard to contest. They knew that the micro game is something that they're lacking in. And by bringing along that Monty, by bringing along that Glaz, just simply cutting off the site, making sure that the anchors weren't feeling very comfortable, that's a big hole in the TYDE defense because they spread their utility so thin, right? And because Fury were able to make that entry, they were all on the same page, they did it together, they played the trades, they were able to get onto the bomb site, and this macro game that we've seen them improve in throughout the year, not just in this map, but throughout the year, Dev, it really feels like Fury have become a team that they know what they're doing, that they have a really great read of the game now, and that's just something that we haven't seen from them up until this point.
Oh, I got jitters, Mandy. I got jitters. I'm starting to feel it. But also, I can't count it out yet because whatever the result of this game, it's just purely, utterly absurd, isn't it? To think that TYDE could go all of Stage 3 with no points and finally take down Fury when it mattered most of Fury in the final Playday. That's absurd. To think that Fury, from last place and completely pointless in Stage 1, to I mean, it was almost like it was kind of just a fun fact. Fury might make it to the major this time. Ha ha ha. No. It could well happen. It probably is going to happen. It's happening right now.
I9 once again trying to place spoils into the entry of Tide, already starting out on this western side of the map. Drones to go out. They are anticipating that well. I9, he's done some sneaky business and he's probably going to try it again as Tide look for this roam clear.
I've been a lot of sneaky business this map. I noticed a lot of suppressors from both teams. They absolutely love it. And on cue, I9 with it once again. Droned out, but he manages to rotate back. No one to cut him off as of yet. A little bit late for the ace player there of Nate. And it's been a little bit slow for Tide, hasn't it?
Good restraint though on the side of Fury. Yes, it is a bit slow from the side of Tide, but if I9 had stayed behind and tried to play his life there, that could have been a done deal. That cutoff might have come through, and so excellent timing, in my opinion, on the side of Fury. Now all they need to do is hold on to these power positions here inside of that shrine room and inside of the terrace room. Once again, Tide, they have brought the hard breach on the side of Nate, but there is a Cade Claw they have to deal with, and it's going to be quite challenging with the time dwindling away in the round.
Shibe is just on lurk duty downstairs. A little bit of vertical game. Surely doesn't catch someone off from this. Nobody would expect a player looking up through this vertical game, but Shibe has got the patience of a saint. He might not be given an opportunity. The Goyo walks eerily past. Doesn't expose.
Oh no, BG Man is just taking down Hysterics. Where has that happened? I've got absolutely no idea what that's
pushing
happened,
in.
but oh no.
Hysterics actually made a play. He even went into VIP. Look at that.
Wow.
He died inside the doorway.
That is not so good for Tide. Now, I've just had a Selma charge go down. I'm not sure where that one's gotten down just yet. Okay, they're opening up this west side of the map, so not going to get the main breach open, but they're going to convene their plays onto the west side and try and go for a flood. Now, Shibe's just been able to even out that main count, perhaps through the vertical. It's about how they play these trades through this western side of the map. They've got 3 possible entry points, and they just need to make it work with their gunplay.
Well, I mean, this could come down to timing for Tide. It's what it's got to be. Tex on this entry is going to walk straight into this crossfire. Surely not. He needs to time this, but he finds the first pick. This is big now for Tide to send it to round 15 to keep them alive. And they're doing it. Surely not. 4v2 now. I9 to stand up. It's him and Lycolis left, but both are feeling this pressure. I9's got to make a play, but it's not happening. Tide say we are not done yet. We will need all 15 rounds to settle it.
You're kidding me. We're going to round 15 of 3rd place versus 7th place in APAC South. Tide, who have never gotten a point on the board, now could close it out. They could stop Fury from going to the major. Once again, not a bad read from Tide going into that attack, even though they couldn't get the main breach open, by playing that numbers advantage, by I suppose consolidating all their plays into the west side. They actually had hard breach that time to open up one of those walls, create another point of entry. And like you said, it's all about that timing. And that's something that Tide are so good at. Being able to lean into that, make that work in their attacks, that's exactly what you need to do against Fury.
Wow. All right. I mean, what have Tide got to be thinking right now? They've got to be just absolutely losing their rocks. They've got to be having the biggest giggle at this game. Fury, there's no other way to put it. This is pressure. This is the pressure getting to them. This is them never having to deal with this big stakes for a game. And it makes me wonder, Mandy, was the Elevate curse actually a Thailand curse? And it's now been passed on to a new successor.
I don't know if it's a curse, but I think a mental game's a big part of it, right? So Fury, they've never been in this situation before. When you load into this lobby and you go, okay, this is the game, that gets you in the feels. That makes you play different. That makes you comm different. Everything about that. And with how young this roster is and just starting to get into the form, that's definitely something that they're vulnerable to. On the side of Tide, they're just there. They're having a laugh. They're having a yarn. And they're winning this game somehow.
Well, one last round, one final hurrah for these teams. And it's Fury on the attack. The ones with the pressure are also the ones who've got to make their move.
But what move are they going to make? Are they going to go for this roam clear? Once again, 3 or 4 players, in fact, off the roam. Only 1 on the site as of now, and that's Nate. Once again, they're leaning into this mirror hold inside of Office, but there we go. Early entry inside of Karaoke. I wonder who that is. Is that Dark or I9? Oh, that must be Dark. There you go, on the sledge.
Looks like Dark. He's right around the corner from Tex. I feel like I've seen this play out before, haven't I, Mandy? But who's going to find the pick? Who's going to reveal his position first? Tex has died here before. Surely not again. He falls back. He doesn't want to overextend.
Look at that.
As all of those gases, well, one of those gases has been used by Hysterics to try and hold off this push, but eventually it subsides. And Fury, look at how quickly I9 is in this one. He finds the opener. Tex goes down.
Look, I9 might have been able to get in the building and it's just taken down a player, but look at that restraint from TYDE. They're able to pick up that shield that was inside of Shrine, and now they've placed it inside of Office, which is now facing the entry position that I9 is going to try and face next, right? That's the next step that they're now putting their utility and their resources into. This choke point has now become this drum part in this terrace part here. It's up to a TYDE to hold on to these crossfires, maybe play these mirrors backwards, because that western side onslaught of Fury could come through any second.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
4v3, Shibase, be careful, mate. Feeling that pressure, dancing around. He doesn't have a lot of leg room here on this dance floor. Oh, he goes for the cross and he survives, but he's a dead man surely now. 1 HP and taken down. Fury! They're doing it! And it turns out Thailand may well have somebody to cheer for in Sweden. It's all up to Nate, but he gets that diffuser down on the ground. 1v3. To make this dream a reality for TYDE, to crush Fury's hopes. And how did Fury play this? No diffuser, but indeed they go for it from rags to riches. For the first time, we will feel their fury on the global stage at the Yonchaping Major.
And what a way to close out that series as well. That came way too close for comfort, but they look absolutely ecstatic to finally be locking in that position for the major. Heartbreak for the Gaming Gladiators, watching this in the background, cheering on TYDE, but Fury able to lock in their own glory.
Gutting game for Gladiators fans, but just look at the faces of those Fury guys. What a marathon they had to run. To go up against TYDE on the final Playday when TYDE simply had nothing to lose. They got their first point, and Fury felt a pressure unlike anything they would have felt before. I9's victory moment there is, I'm going to remember that for a while. I cannot believe it, Mandy. I cannot believe from last place and winless, pointless in stage 1, Fury are actually going to a major here in stage 3. It is unthinkable what a comeback these guys have had over the course of just 9 months.
A massive glow up, right? Like that. They went from being that team that looked really lost in the server. It just felt like they didn't have a direction in the game. It felt like they didn't have great leadership or really any strengths that set them apart from other teams. But as they went through the stage, they voted real hard. They must have had hours worth of dry runs, because now it feels like they have a great read and approach of so many different maps. Their map pool is very vast now. It's excellent to see them get to this maturity, and I can't wait to see them at the major.
And you know what? After however many years, they finally put the global into Fury Global.
Hey.
Let's go back to the desk, and I'll try and digest what was that ridiculous game.